We're going to go ahead and get started with questions for Ohio State. Please state your name and media outlet when asking a question. We'll start in the back right.
Good evening. Rashawn Haylock, KTLA 5. Coach Day, how much of tonight is a reflection on what you were hoping to get when you brought Chip Kelly on?
Yeah, I thought Chip called a great game. I thought, the whole offensive staff worked hard to put the plan together, but ultimately it comes down to the players putting it on the field. I've said that all along. I think sometimes in this game, coaches get too much attention. This is about these guys right here. A lot of good plays out there, but they got to make it work. And I thought they really put it on the field and it came out aggressive, but I thought Chip called an aggressive game and certainly had a big smile on his face after.
Question in the front right there.
Hey, Ryan. Ari Wasserman on 3. You've been in a position the last month that most coaches, maybe the first ever, where a large portion of the fan base has been displeased, and you guys had to come into a postseason under some tough circumstances. And I'm wondering, what's it been like for you through this journey, and how cathartic was it today to have the game that you guys had?
Well, in this game, there are ups and downs along the way. And, when things are going good, you got to hug the guys you love the most. And when things aren't, you got to hug them even harder. And you just hang in there and you keep swinging. And, I talked to these guys about it a couple weeks ago. That's life. And this team is resilient. And when you surround yourself with great people, with great character, you find yourself working through difficult times. And at the end of the day, we wanted to win a national championship, and the way that we got here wasn't what we expected. It wasn't what we planned for. But nonetheless, we had an opportunity to come back and play Oregon after we'd already played them early in the season, and that's the only thing that mattered. And the guys have been doing a great job of staying focused. The staff has stuck together, but the players have stuck together, and they're fighting to continue to stay together because the winner gets to play together another week, the loser doesn't. So. Those guys have worked hard to stay together, and now we've got an opportunity to go play Texas, and a lot of football ahead of us.
We have a question from the front here. Nick, yep.
Nick Hamilton, Nightcast Media. First of all, to all of you, congratulations. Coach, just looking at the enormous impact that Jeremiah has had on this season, on your team, how would you say he mirrors somebody like a Marvin Harrison Jr., who you've seen as well to develop and be able to do great things?
I think we always want to draw comparisons because that's what we do naturally. I think whether it's players or coaches, it's easy for everyone to say, well, he's this person, and not quite put him in a box, but sort of categorize them based on somebody who's come before. And Jeremiah is his own person. I think that the way that he's come in from the get-go, he had a look in his eye that he wanted to make an impact as a freshman. And I think his teammates would tell you the same thing. And he's earned the respect of the teammates, not because of his ability. You guys see his ability, but to me, it's the work ethic every day. And he comes in, he's serious. He doesn't say a whole lot. But when he does, people listen. And his maturity, physically, emotionally, and mentally has allowed him to play like this. And remember, he's a freshman. And so for him to be playing his best football late in the season speaks to his maturity.
The next question comes from the middle right. Steve?
Congratulations, Coach Day. When Marcus Freeman was here after they played SC, I asked him, sometimes a defeat is the best thing that happens to a team. I know it's hard to say that when you lose to your rival, but are there some aspects of that loss that may have, in the end, where you're at right now, may have been the best thing for your team? I see you shaking your head no already.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say something like that. But I know that, you're a sum of your experiences. And this team has had great wins this season. It's had some tough losses. And we have learned from those, and you got to grow and you got to build and you got to make sure you're, focusing on your strengths and making sure that, you understand what your weaknesses are. And I think that's a big part of it, but ultimately it comes down to our guys. And I just keep going back to that because these guys are resilient, and, we're at a place where, you can hear a lot of noise, but they didn't do that. And I'm very, very proud of our staff. I'm very, very proud of our players, but we're far from done.
The next question comes from the second row.
Hey Ryan, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette. I asked you this a couple of weeks ago. You talked about playing free and without fear of consequences, and over these last two games, that would probably look like that's what that looks like. What's been the shift in that mindset? What have you done? What has the team done to allow that to happen? Has there been a focused effort on that, or is it just something that?
I don't know. You can talk to the players about it. I think all year, you make adjustments along the way, but we've really focused hard after the regular season on our execution. And I know that sounds really simple, but that's something that we talk a lot about in our walkthroughs, in our meetings. It might be practices, it might be a walkthrough in a hotel, it might be a meeting, it might be just one little tip that could give you that little bit to say, hey man, like this is going to help you execute this play on this play, on this situation. And then you also have to be, situationally aware, which I think as the season's gone on, we've done a better job of that. And then the last piece is doing your job. Everybody has to do their job. Like, you take, for instance, the route that Jeremiah ran on the play where he stuck his foot in the ground and went across the field. It was a perfectly run route, but the protection was there. The setup by Will of getting the whole defense to run one way looked like it was a naked, and then we came back and threw the ball. Like, there's so much that goes into that one specific play, and I think that we've really focused on that part of it. And I think it's the same thing with the defense. I think that they all understand how they fit in with each other, and then it comes down to execution. But then when you mix that with after the snap is then snap, the physicality and how hard we're playing right now, I think those two things are the reason why you're seeing us play this type of football.
The next question comes from the middle left in blue and white.
Luke Evans, Southern California News Group. Ryan, there's been a lot of talk in your time at Ohio State just about this program's record and big games, the way that the last couple of years ended. Obviously, this program has bigger goals, but to win the last couple games in the way that you did, do you take any personal pride in that? For yourself as a coach, your journey.
Every game is big at Ohio State, and we know that when we came and when we decided to come to Ohio State, and certainly, this game is huge for a lot of reasons. But I think the most important for our team is that we get a chance to play together for another week. To me, that's the most important thing. Every game here is important, and so when you lose, you've got to figure out how to move forward. But when you recruit great people with high character who care about each other, when you go through difficult times, you stick together. You don't splinter. And again, that's why whenever we're in these situations, I just fall back on these guys right here. I mean, I wish you guys were asking these guys questions because they're the ones on the field. These guys are the ones who are playing, not me. I'm just there to direct them and make sure that we're all going in the right direction. These are the guys who are the warriors who are doing it on the field. And I just can't say enough about these guys.
Next question comes from the front row right here.
AP Stedham with AP As We See It. This is for Jeremiah and Cody.
There we go.
What did you see? What did you see today that was different from the first game, and what are some of the things you practiced that you thought were going to be there?
From the first game, I think our defensive. I mean, that was obviously one of our letdown games for our defense. So one of the biggest things we changed was just our attitude and our mentality. There was a lot of plays in the first game, and we weren't even aligned. We weren't ready to go, and with offense like that for Oregon, they thrive on that stuff. And for us, it was just that mentality we had to change, and we went through a lot of tough conversations after that game, and a lot of changes we had to make. But I think we're better for it now, and we made those changes, and like Coach Day said, it's all about execution. No matter what. No matter who's across the ball, you have to do your job. And if you do your job, you're going to select a result.
The next question comes from the middle right
Jeremiah's
there.
he's got to answer it, yeah.
Offensively, after that game, we had a bad taste in our mouth. We just had to come in the next day and just see what was the issues, fix the issues, and get on the field and work it. But offensively, we had to get the ball on the perimeter, take shots, and just win our one-on-one matchups, and that's what we did today.
Okay, in the middle.
Kevin Skyver, USA Today. Jeremiah, your offense is so good when you guys get vertical. How does Will kind of help you guys along, and why do you feel like he kind of has to prove himself week after week?
Will does a great job in practice, just trusting us, throwing the ball out there. We just tell him, just throw it out there. We're going to make a play for it. It don't matter if it's a bad ball or not. We just got to make our quarterback look good. But, Will playing with that confidence that he have, just being a leader out there, I feed off his energy. Just great guy, I love Will to death, not do anything for him.
Question in the front right here.
Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros Magazine. Cody, Coach talked about his execution, but this is an emotional game. Football's emotional. How have you as a captain worked with your team to just let's balance the emotions with the execution and do this the way he wants us to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably the biggest part about football. It's a game about getting your body, mind, and spirit right. And I think Coach Day does a great job where he wants us to understand the moment and how the steps of each game goes. And it's not, we don't play that game a week ago, but we have to get our mind ready to be in that sense. And so obviously it was a lot of emotion, a lot of people would call it about redemption, but for us it really is just about doing your job, because our coaching put us in the right position, so we just got to go make the play, and they've done that so well this whole season. So I mean, we trust them 100%.
We have time for 2 more questions. The next question will come from the gentleman in the plaid. We'll bring a mic to you just 1 second.
Questions for Coach Day. I'm Andres Soto from the LA Times. With the college football landscape kind of changing every day, it seems like, what does it mean to you guys to win the Rose Bowl knowing that there's more football left to be played?
Yeah, I think for us, we literally are taking it 1 week at a time, but we are, I keep saying it, we're fighting to keep this team together because we have a great group of guys together. And I think that we believe that when we're executing at a high level, that we can play with anybody in the country. And so we have a lot of respect for Oregon. We have a lot of respect for Coach Lanning and his staff and his players. I think they're a very, very good team and well coached. So we knew we had to be at our best today. And it'll be the same thing next week. When you're playing the playoffs, you're playing against very, very good teams. And so, we hold ourselves to a high standard. And so now we're going to have to get back. We're getting back on. We're not staying the night. We're getting back on that plane. We're headed back to Columbus. We'll get some rest, and then we'll focus on Texas.
The last question will come from the front right here.
Ryan, you've always talked, in these big games about your best players needing to step up. These last few weeks, or even going back to the Michigan game, the way Jack Sawyer has played, what have you thought about the way he's stepped up and made an impact?
Yeah, I can't say enough about Jack as a leader, as a person. He really stands for what it means to be a Buckeye, and to see him playing at a high level, he's the heart and soul of the front. And Cody will tell you, just what he brings every day. He brings a hard hat and a lunch pail and goes to work. And, it's showing late in the season. He's playing a lot of great football, and he's a big reason we won today.
Thank you, Coach Day, and thank you to Jeremiah and Cody for joining us.
Thank you.